There are moments in life that feel ordinary on the surface, yet carry a deeper meaning beneath them. This is one of those moments. You may think you just happen to hear these words, that it's just another video, another message passing through your day, but nothing appears in your awareness by accident. What you are experiencing right now is not random. It is a reflection of a shift already taking place within you. You see, life does not move in chaos the way it often appears to. There is an order, a quiet intelligence guiding everything, even when the path seems unclear. And what you call confusion, what you call delay, what you call uncertainty, these are not signs that things are falling apart. They are signs that something is rearranging itself on your behalf. There is a tendency to look at the outside world for confirmation, to wait for visible proof before allowing yourself to believe that things are working out. But the truth is, the inner movement always happens first. Before anything changes in your physical world, there is a shift in awareness, a subtle nudge, a feeling that something is different. That feeling you've had lately, the sense that something is about to happen, even if you can't explain it. That is alignment. Alignment does not always feel comfortable. Sometimes it feels like things are being taken away. Sometimes it feels like doors are closing, plans are falling through, or the ground beneath you is uncertain. But what if those very moments are not obstacles but adjustments? What if life is not denying you but refining the path so precisely that only what truly belongs to you can remain? Think about it. How many times have you looked back on a situation that didn't work out, only to realize later that it led you exactly where you needed to be? At the time it made no sense. It felt like a setback. But in hindsight it was guidance. The same is happening now, even if you don't yet have the perspective to see it clearly. You are not being overlooked. You are not being left behind. There is no force working against you. Everything that is unfolding is responding to a deeper movement within you, a movement toward the life you've already begun to claim, even if only in thought, even if only in desire. So instead of questioning why things are the way they are, begin to see them differently. Begin to trust that there is something greater at work, that every delay is positioning, every challenge is redirection, and every moment of uncertainty is part of a precise unfolding that is leading you exactly where you are meant to go. Because the moment you stop seeing your circumstances as random and start recognizing them as alignment, everything changes. You no longer feel lost. You no longer feel like you're waiting. You begin to understand that you are already in motion, already being led, already supported in ways you may not fully see yet. And this moment, right here, right now, is your sign that something is aligning in your favor. Now, as you begin to sense that something is aligning in your favor, you must understand where that alignment truly begins. It does not begin out there, in circumstances, in other people, or in chance opportunities. It begins within you, always within you. Your state, your inner condition of being, is the silent cause behind everything you experience. It is not merely what you say or what you try to do on the surface, but what you consistently feel to be true about yourself and your life. This is the foundation, and from this foundation, everything else is built. You may believe that the world is shaping you, that events determine how you feel, that outcomes define your confidence, but this is the reverse of how life truly operates. It is your inner state that gives meaning to every event, that filters every experience, that draws to you the very circumstances that match it. Change the state, and the reflection must change. Consider how differently you move through life when you feel certain compared to when you feel doubtful. When certainty is present, your actions become effortless. You don't hesitate, you don't overthink, you don't question every step. There is a quiet knowing that carries you forward. But when doubt takes hold, even the simplest things feel heavy. You second guess, you delay, you shrink. The outer world has not changed, but your state has, and so your entire experience shifts with it. This is why force is never the answer. Trying harder, pushing more, chasing endlessly, these are attempts to change the reflection without addressing the source. And it leaves you exhausted, because you are working against the very principle that governs your reality. Instead, what is required is a shift in awareness, a decision to no longer identify with limitation, but to assume the feeling of already being the person who has what you seek. This is not about pretending. It is about recognizing that the state you choose to occupy becomes your reality. When you persist in a state of confidence, of trust, of inner stability, you are not waiting for life to change, you are causing it to change. The outer world has no choice but to reorganize itself around the state you consistently embody. You don't need to know how it will happen. You don't need to control every step or predict every outcome. Those concerns belong to the surface. Your only responsibility is to remain faithful to the state you have chosen. To return to it again and again until it feels natural, until it feels like you, and yes, there may be moments when the outer world appears to contradict what you are choosing within. Moments where nothing seems to be moving, where doubt tries to re-enter, where old patterns attempt to pull you back. But these are not signs that it isn't working. They are simply echoes of the past, fading as you remain steady in your new state. Do not be moved by appearances. Do not let temporary conditions define your inner position. Because the moment you allow the outside to control the inside, you surrender your power. And the moment you return within and claim your state consciously, you take it back. Everything you desire already exists as a possibility, waiting for the state that matches it. And when you become that state, when you think from it, feel from it, live from it, you are no longer separate from what you seek, you are it. And as you begin to hold your state more consciously, there will be moments when the outer world does not immediately reflect what you have claimed within. This is where many turn back. This is where doubt begins to whisper that perhaps it isn't working, that perhaps you have been overlooked, that perhaps things are not meant for you. But what you must understand in these moments is this: what appears as delay is not denial. Time as you perceive it can be misleading. You expect things to happen instantly, to unfold according to your schedule, to appear the moment you decide they should. But the outer world is not separate from you. It is responding to you, rearranging itself in ways you cannot yet see. And just because you do not see movement does not mean there is none. There is always movement. When something you desire does not arrive when you expect it, the mind immediately assumes the worst. It labels the situation as failure, as rejection, as something lost. But this interpretation is based only on what is visible, and what is visible is only a fragment of the whole. Behind the scenes, there are shifts taking place, paths being redirected, circumstances being adjusted, connections being formed, all leading toward the fulfillment of what you have already accepted within. You must learn not to judge your reality by appearances alone. Because what you see in any given moment is not the final result, it is a passing state, a snapshot in a much larger unfolding. And if you react to it as if it is permanent, you interrupt the very process that is working in your favor. Think of the times when something did not work out the way you planned. At the time, it may have felt like a loss, like something was taken from you. But later, with distance, you saw the truth. You saw that what you thought was a setback was actually a redirection, that what seemed like an ending was making space for something more aligned, more fitting, more complete. The same principle is at work now. What you call delay is often preparation. It is the unseen arrangement of details that must come together in order for your desire to unfold in a way that is stable, natural, and lasting. If everything arrived instantly without this unseen process, it would lack foundation. It would not hold. So instead, there is a perfect timing, one that does not always match your expectations, but is always precise. This is why patience is not passive. It is not about waiting and hoping. It is about maintaining your inner state despite what you see. It is about remaining faithful to what you have claimed, even when the evidence has not yet appeared. Because the moment you lose faith, the moment you decide it is not working, you shift your state, and the reflection must follow that shift. So when things seem delayed, do not interpret it as rejection. Do not assume that something has gone wrong. Instead, remind yourself that everything is still unfolding, that what is yours is not being withheld, and that the path is being prepared in ways you cannot yet fully understand. You are not waiting for your life to begin. You are in the middle of its unfolding, and every moment, even the ones that seem still, are part of that movement. Nothing meant for you can miss you. And once you begin to trust that what is meant for you cannot miss you, something within you starts to relax. The urgency fades. The constant need to force outcomes, to chase, to make things happen through sheer effort, it begins to dissolve. You start to see that what you have been seeking has never required struggle in the way you imagined. It has only required alignment. There is a great misunderstanding that success, opportunity, and fulfillment must be pursued relentlessly, as though they exist outside of you and must be captured before they disappear. So you run after them, you push, you strive, you exhaust yourself trying to control every detail, believing that if you stop, even for a moment, everything will slip away. But this way of living is rooted in fear, not in truth, because what truly belongs to you does not need to be chased. What you are meant to experience is not running from you, it is responding to you. It is drawn to the state you occupy, to the identity you accept as true. And when you understand this, your approach to life changes entirely. You no longer act a meet of desperation or lack, trying to fill a void. You begin to move from a place of completeness, from a quiet certainty that what you desire is already yours in essence. Think about the difference between someone who feels they must prove their worth and someone who knows it. One seeks validation in every interaction, trying to earn approval, trying to secure outcomes. The other simply expresses themselves naturally and confidently without force. And yet it is the latter who attracts more respect, more opportunity, more ease, not because they are trying harder, but because they are being. This is the shift from chasing to attracting. Attraction is not something you do, it is something you allow. It is the natural result of embodying the state of already having, already being, already knowing. When you feel secure within yourself, when you no longer question whether something is possible for you, your actions become lighter. You still move, you still take steps, but there is no strain in it. There is no fear underneath it. There is only a sense of flow, and in that flow, things begin to meet you. Opportunities appear without force. Conversations unfold at the right moment. Ideas come to you with clarity. What once felt difficult begins to feel natural. And it is not because the world has suddenly changed. It is because you have. You are no longer operating from the state of trying to get. You are operating from the state of having. But this requires trust. It requires you to release the habit of control, to let go of the belief that everything depends on constant effort. Because as long as you believe that you must chase, you will continue to experience life as something just out of reach, always moving, always striving, but never quite arriving. Instead, allow yourself to step into the version of you who already has what you seek, feel what they would feel, think as they would think, carry yourself as they would carry themselves. And remain there, not occasionally, not when it feels easy, but consistently, because the more you dwell in that state, the more natural it becomes. And the more natural it becomes, the more your outer world must reflect it. You were never meant to chase your life, you were meant to attract it. And as you begin to move through life from this place of attraction rather than pursuit, you will still encounter moments that test you. Moments that seem to contradict everything you have come to understand. Challenges will appear, unexpected turns will arise, and there will be instances where it feels as though things are not unfolding in your favor at all. But it is precisely here that your understanding must deepen. Because every challenge you face is not working against you, it is working for you, even when it does not feel that way. It is easy to accept this idea when life is going smoothly, when everything seems to align effortlessly. But the real transformation happens when you can hold this truth in the face of difficulty, when you can look at a setback and refuse to label it as failure, when you can stand in the middle of uncertainty and still remain anchored in the knowing that something greater is unfolding. What you must realize is that every experience carries a purpose beyond its immediate appearance. The situations that stretch you are expanding your capacity. The moments that unsettle you are revealing where you still hold limitations. And the obstacles that seem to block your path are often redirecting you towards something more aligned than what you originally imagined. There is nothing wasted in your journey. Every disappointment, every delay, every unexpected outcome is shaping you in ways that are necessary for what you have asked for. Because the version of you that desires more must also become the version of you that can receive more. And that transformation does not happen in comfort alone. It happens in contrast. It happens when you are faced with situations that require you to choose differently, to think differently, to respond from a higher understanding of yourself. Think of the strength you have gained from moments you once wished you could avoid. At the time, they may have felt overwhelming. You may have questioned why they were happening, what you had done to deserve them, or whether you would ever move beyond them. But now, looking back, you can see how they shaped you, how they clarified what you truly wanted, how they pushed you to grow in ways you otherwise would not have. That same process is still unfolding. What you are experiencing now is not random difficulty, it is refinement. It is life preparing you, strengthening you, aligning you with the version of yourself that can fully step into what you desire without hesitation, without fear, without doubt. And while the mind may resist this process, while it may try to interpret it as something negative, you have the ability to see beyond that. You have the ability to choose your meaning. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" begin to ask, "How is this working for me?" Instead of seeing obstacles, begin to see direction. Instead of feeling defeated, begin to recognize that you are being elevated. Because the moment you shift your perspective, the experience itself begins to change. What once felt heavy begins to feel purposeful. What once felt like resistance begins to feel like momentum. And what once seemed like a setback reveals itself as a necessary step forward. You are not being held back, you are being prepared. And after everything you have begun to see, everything you have started to understand, there comes a moment where it all becomes simple. Not easy in the sense that the mind no longer wanders, but clear in a way that removes confusion. A moment where you no longer question whether things are working out, but instead recognize that they always have been. That moment is now. You did not arrive here by accident. Out of all the paths you could have taken, all the distractions that could have pulled your attention elsewhere, you are here hearing this at this exact point in your life. And that in itself is the confirmation you have been seeking. So often the mind looks for signs in the external world. It waits for something dramatic, something undeniable, something that removes all doubt at once. But the most powerful confirmations are not always loud. They are subtle. They arrive as a quiet recognition, a feeling that something within you has shifted, that something is becoming clear. This is that moment for you. It is not something you need to chase or search for any longer. It is something you accept, a decision you make within yourself, that from this point forward, you will no longer entertain the idea that things are not working in your favor. You will no longer return to the old patterns of doubt, of hesitation, of questioning your path every time something appears uncertain. Because you understand now, you understand that your state is the cause, that what appears as delay is part of a precise unfolding, that you do not need to chase what is already drawn to you, that every challenge is shaping you, not stopping you. And when all of this comes together, there is only one thing left to do: continue, not with force, not with struggle, but with a quiet persistence, a steady commitment to the version of yourself you have chosen to be. Because the only thing that ever interrupts the unfolding is inconsistency. The only thing that ever delays the reflection is when you step in and out of the state, when you believe for a moment and then return to doubt the next. So remain. Remain in the knowing that what you have claimed is already yours in essence. Remain in the feeling of certainty, even when the outer world has not yet caught up. Remain in the awareness that everything is moving, even when it appears still. Because the more you remain, the more natural it becomes. And the more natural it becomes, the faster your world reorganizes itself to match it. There is no need to rush, no need to force an outcome, no need to question whether you are on the right path. You are not trying to get somewhere, you are allowing something to unfold, and that unfolding is already in motion. Let this be the moment you stop doubting. Let this be the moment you stop looking back. Let this be the moment you fully step into the understanding that everything is already aligning, already shifting, already becoming. You are closer than you think. Keep going.